them all what I'm made up. Strut down the hall, won't stop till I get enough.
Okay, so you know how sometimes you see something and it's like, whoa, wait a minute, what's going on here? Like when a band you love suddenly covers a song by like a totally different artist you're into.
Yeah, I get that.
It's kind of like that feeling, but in the world of like movies and specifically those big cinematic universes.
No, interesting.
We're diving into some big news today about Star Trek actors showing up in the MCU.
Yeah, and more specifically, in the next Avengers movie, Doomsday.
Avengers, Doomsday, yeah, that's a big one. And the news comes from a TrekMovie.com article. It's from March 26th, 2025.
Gotcha.
Marvel Studios did this whole live stream thing where they revealed the cast.
Yeah.
It's a huge deal. And what we're going to try to do in this deep dive is kind of unpack who exactly from Star Trek is now an Avenger and like what it all means for, you know, for us, for fans who like following these things.
Right. So like what exactly did they announce?
So according to this Trek movie article, Marvel had this like marathon live stream event and they just dropped the cast list for Avengers, Doomsday.
Okay, so they're not messing around.
No, they're not. And this filming starts this week.
Wow.
This week, like March 24th to the 30th, 2025, they're hitting the ground running.
That's crazy.
And you know what's really cool is it's like these two huge worlds colliding. Avengers. Doomsday is shaping up to be massive. The article makes it clear this movie's going to have characters from all corners of the MCU.
Right.
And thanks to the whole multiverse thing that now includes people we know from the X-Men movies.
Oh, right.
For anyone who needs a refresher, the multiverse is like this idea that there are tons of parallel universes, and that means characters from different realities can like meet up and do their thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's how we're getting some very familiar faces from Star Trek in this movie.
Exactly.
Like the article points out Sir Patrick Stewart, he's going to be there.
Oh, wow.
We all know him as Captain Picard from Star Trek, The Next Generation and Picard. But he's going to be Charles Xavier.
Professor X.
Professor X.
That's right.
It's not his first time playing the role either. He was in the X-Men trilogy back in the early 2000s.
Right. And don't forget his amazing performance in Logan in 2017.
Oh, yeah.
That was powerful.
Yeah.
And, you know, technically his appearance in the MCU was in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness back in 2022.
That's right.
That was after Disney got 20th Century Fox, which made those first X-Men films.
Right.
So it's all connected. You know what's funny is the article even mentioned this thing I saw in the comments about how many times Professor X has like died in the X-Men movies.
Oh, yeah.
It's almost a running joke.
It's like death doesn't really stick in these kinds of movies.
That's true.
Especially with the whole multiverse thing now. It really opens up a lot of possibilities.
It does. Like, characters can come back even if they had a pretty definitive ending before. It gives the writers a lot of freedom. And speaking of unexpected returns, another Star Trek actor who's joining the MCU in Doomsday is Rebecca Romijn.
Oh, yes. She plays #1 in Star Trek, Strange New Worlds.
Una Chin Riley.
Yes. But before that, as the article reminds us, she was Mystique in the same X-Men movies with Patrick Stewart. That's right.
And she even had a little cameo in X-Men. First Class back in 2011.
Yep. And the best part is the Trek movie article talks about Rebecca Romijn posting about it on Instagram.
Really?
Yeah. I love seeing actors engaging with the fans like that.
It's so cool. It makes it all feel more real, you know?
It does. And her husband, Jerry O'Connell, you know him as Commander Ransom from Star Trek, Lower Decks.
Yeah.
He even jumped on Instagram and made this funny pitch about it. It's like these big announcements become a little more down to earth and fun, you know?
Yeah, for sure. It's like it brings it all back down to the people behind these characters.
Yeah, exactly.
So apart from those two who were in the X-Men movies, the article also talks about other actors who've been in both Star Trek and Marvel stuff. It's crazy how interconnected everything is.
Absolutely.
I mean, take Chris Hemsworth. He's Thor in the MCU.
Huge star.
Huge star. But people might forget that one of his early roles was actually George Kirk, Captain Kirk's dad in the 2009 Star Trek.
Wow. I didn't know that. Yeah. It's amazing how a small role in one big franchise can launch an actor into a lead in another.
It really shows how talent can move between these different worlds.
Totally. From a quick appearance in Star Trek to starring in multiple Thor films and being like a core part of the Avengers, that's a wild ride. And the article even brings up Kelsey Grammer,
Oh, interesting.
He was in that episode of Star Trek, The Next Generation, Cause and Effect, the war with the time loop.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And, of course, he's also a Beast in a bunch of the X-Men movies that Fox did.
Right. And he had a cameo in the Marvels just last year, 2023.
That's right.
So he's definitely part of both these sci-fi universes.
Yeah. So the article also mentions some people who are not on the Doomsday cast list, which I guess tells us something too, right?
Yeah, for sure. It helps set expectations, and sometimes it hints at what might happen down the line.
Right.
Like Benedict Cumberbatch. He's Doctor Strange in the MCU.
Right.
And he played Khan in Star Trek Into Darkness. He's not listed for Doomsday, but the article says he'll be back for Avengers: Secret Wars in 2027.
So another Trek MCU connection to look forward to.
Exactly.
And speaking of Star Trek, there's no mention of Anson Mount either. He's Captain Pike in Strange New Worlds.
Right.
He was in Multiverse of Madness with Patrick Stewart as Black Bolt.
Oh, right. From Inhumans.
Yeah.
I guess it's not super surprising he's not in Doomsday, given what happened to his character in Inhumans, but it's still another link between these universes.
Yeah. It's interesting how all these actors with Star Trek connections are showing up in Doomsday. I mean, it makes sense when you think about what the movie is trying to do.
Yeah.
Bringing all these characters from different parts of the MCU together.
Right. It all ties into the whole multiverse ideas, how they explain these crossovers.
Yeah.
And the fans are definitely talking about it. The article mentions some of the comments.
Oh, yeah? What are you saying?
Lots of excitement, but also a bit of, concern about how they're going to handle such a huge cast.
Yeah, that's a lot of characters to juggle.
It is. But overall, people seem pretty pumped about these actors joining the MCU for such a big movie.
Right.
There's even this interesting comment about how science fiction lets you bring characters back from the dead.
Right, like we were talking about with Professor X.
Exactly. It's a common thing in these stories. It just shows how much potential there is in these fictional worlds.
Totally. So, Avengers. Doomsday comes out on May 1st, 2026.
Mark your calendars.
Mark your calendars. And the article says to check out Entertainment Weekly if you want to see the full cast list.
They have a big breakdown of it all.
So to wrap things up, what's the main takeaway for our listeners from this Trek movie article?
The bottom line is we're seeing this big crossover event where well-known actors from Star Trek, Sir Patrick Stewart and Rebecca Romijn are going to be in Avengers. Doomsday.
It's huge.
It is, and they're not the only ones. We've got other actors who've had big roles in both Star Trek and Marvel. It shows how connected these franchises are becoming.
Yeah, and it's exciting for us as viewers because it means actors we love in one role can pop up in another.
Absolutely. It gives us a new perspective on how these big story worlds are changing and influencing each other. Makes you think about the future of these franchises, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Like now that the multiverse is a big part of both Star Trek and the MCU, what other character crossovers might we see?
Well, that's a good question.
It is. And what does it mean for the stories and how these characters develop over time in these huge expanding universes?
Definitely something to think about.
Definitely.
Sound the alarm. I'm coming up. We'll have the ball. I'm sweet like a buttercup. You're a Barbie doll. Show them all what I'm made of. Strut down the hall. Won't stop till I get enough.